For those of you who didn't know, I recently just made a Last of Us video where I actually went over Neil Druckmann's comments about a potential Last of Us Part 3 no longer happening. Again, he basically said that they can't really find the story, and again, there were a ton of other different issues, so I highly recommend you guys go and check out that video, which will be, again, linked in the description down below if I can remember to do it. But contradicting those comments, we recently just got a new leak which talks about some Last of Us Part 3 leaks that have just come online, with it saying that Naughty Dog has yet to announce a third entry in the Last of Us series. But one leaker claims the studio is already working on the project and has released a few supporting details. It's been 5 years since the controversial sequel to Naughty Dog's groundbreaking zombie title was released, and fans have eagerly anticipated more since then. While all the official news has centered around the television adaptation and the studio's next franchise, The Last of Us may still have something in store for fans of the series. While season 1 of The Last of Us live-action TV show was a big hit, the future of the game series remains uncertain. Naughty Dog cancelled The Last of Us Online after 4 years of development, and the studio is currently working on a different title, the sci-fi game Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. Still, working on one game doesn't mean teams aren't also developing another, and at least one source seems to believe there's a third The Last of Us title in the pipeline. In a Patreon post reported by comicbook.com, noted leader and entertainment industry insider Daniel Richmond, or Daniel RPK, claims The Last of Us Part 3 has already begun casting. According to Richmond, part of the game will follow a group of new characters holding out against the infected in an old Victorian house. A power struggle reportedly develops between two of the characters, Val and Mason, suggesting the Victorian house plot could be a major story point for the game. Still, it's unclear if this arc will be a focus or just part of a larger, more complex narrative. There are still questions The Last of Us Part 2 leaves unanswered, so the third game will hopefully follow up on characters like Ellie and Abby if it happens, but Richmond leaks have not mentioned them so far. Again, yeah, that is so crazy that we might legitimately be getting, new characters who are going to expand the story and expand the lore of the Last of Us world, because after all, yes, everyone loves Ellie, and yes, Abby is a little bit more controversial, but there is still so much for them to talk about and explore that doesn't always have to do with Ellie. So if we got a new game here with new characters that ends up tying into Ellie, that does actually sound really interesting. Again, it goes on saying that reports claim The Last of Us Part 3 is casting and will follow new characters. In addition to Val and Mason, the leak mentions 3 characters named Gracie, Ezra, and Lucas, the latter of whom reportedly forms a relationship with another character and has a dark turn. Beyond that, story details are scarce, which makes sense if the game has only begun casting. If these rumors are true, the game is likely still in its early stages of development, and the script is liable to change. Of course, there's no guarantee that a third Last of Us will even happen. Series creator Neil Druckmann has suggested that The Last of Us will end with a TV show, though he has also said he has floated ideas for another sequel in the past. If Naughty Dog is currently working on The Last of Us Part 3, it will be a while before fans hear any official news. Druckmann said, Intergalactic still has a way to go before completion, and that title still has no release window, so the studio will most likely finish more development on that game before bringing attention to a potential Last of Us game. I'm actually really happy with this news because I think that there is still a lot to explore with Ellie. I don't think there's that much to explore with Abby and Lev. In my opinion, as I have mentioned before on this channel 100 times, I absolutely love The Last of Us Part 2, but I definitely see there is a problem with the game, and in my opinion, that is the ending, as I genuinely believe Abby should have died. And I don't hate Abby, I don't disagree with her as much as most people do, but the reality is, with how the story was created and written, in my opinion, Abby should have died. And we have heard rumors for years now that Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann have actually had regrets with The Last of Us Part 2, with some rumors even theorizing that they actually stand with most of the story. But there are some rumors and beliefs out there that if they had their time back, they might have tweaked the ending to have Abby die. And I think you can genuinely tell that this might have been the case with Neil Druckmann genuinely not being able to figure out where he wants The Last of Us Part 3 story to go, to the point where now it looks like he's going to be introducing new characters just because he probably can't figure out how to build upon Abby and Lev's story. Again, Abby as a character had her issues, but she had her great moments. But the thing with Abby is that her story, in my opinion, doesn't really have any more room to grow unless she's going to try and seek out some group or Fireflies or something like that to try and get a new cure going, and maybe then she goes and tries to get Ellie back in. But again, it still defeats the purpose because Ellie left her alive, and I mean, it just I don't know. It shouldn't have. Ellie, I think, should have probably killed her. Like, why did we spend freaking 50 hours playing this game of Ellie to want to go and kill Abby just for the last 10 minutes of the game? She decides, you know what? The last 100 million days of my life, they don't matter anymore. I don't want to kill this bitch. I've decided to change my heart in this little fight. Again, I don't agree with it, and I don't know how they're going to go. Again, this story doesn't really tell us a whole lot. We don't really learn a whole lot about these new characters to the point where I can specifically say how it's going to go into Ellie's story, how it's going to therefore move maybe into Abby's story. I just think what's happened here is Druckmann, he probably has an idea of where he wants Ellie's story to go. I don't think he has any idea where he wants Abby's and Lev's to go. I think that if anything was to happen, and my prediction just from the early parts of this will be a new group that we're of course going to see that's going to have a ton of different drama, a ton of new complex and interesting characters who are eventually, as we get to like halfway through the game, they're going to find their way to either Abby, or they're going to find their way to either maybe Ellie or Jackson or something like that. And that's where the stories are going to intertwine and something is going to happen there, which is interesting. It's cool that they're introducing a ton new characters. Again, the sequel had a ton new characters compared to the first one. I wouldn't be surprised if this third one really changed that up completely. And it would be awesome if in this, Last of Us game, maybe we got to explore some of the South. Maybe we got to see, what happened with Texas after everything, of course, happened. Again, I know it's explained a little bit in the lore on what happened to all these places, but wouldn't it be cool to actually see that in a game? Because after all, the first one and the sequel really explores all the states, on the top half of the US rather than the bottom half of the US. Again, I think you really go from I think they start off, in Boston in the first one, and then by the end of the second one, we're in Seattle. It's literally a straight line of the top of the US. It'd be cool if maybe we got to see some of the bottom and explore more of that. Maybe it's going to explore some more parts of San Francisco, which we know that they wanted to do. They wanted to have San Francisco have a bigger role in this, Last of Us game. They just caught up with the budget and the game being too big. Again, from rumors, they're going to explore much more of San Francisco in like a fourth season of The Last of Us show if it continues to go well. But this could also be an avenue for them to maybe explore more of California if they really wanted to in this Last of Us game. So I'm very interested to see how they, of course, are going to go with all of this and where the story is going to progress, how the story is going to unfold. Again, I'd very much like to know all of your thoughts and opinions on this all in the comment section down below. Are you guys excited for a Last of Us Part 3, or do you guys think they should just finish it at Last of Us Part 2? Again, I'd very much like to know. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for latest gaming content, movie content, news. My sports channel, which will be getting linked in the description down below. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys next time. Goodbye.